question comes from Sean Jacobson. He says, what do you think the most hard-fought game will be in the 2017 season, and will we win? I'm going to alter your question just a little bit, Sean. I'm going to say, what is the most important game of the 2017 NFL season? It has to be the last game of November in Gillette Stadium. Everybody's asking the question, who's going to be able to really compete with the Patriots for that Super Bowl title? Who's going to be competitive with the New England Patriots just in general? Obviously, the Houston Texans showed up last season. They said a front seven can really, obviously when you hit Brady, the Broncos proved that if you have an elite front seven and you hit Brady, it really affects them. The Houston Texans, if they had a half-decent quarterback, they probably would have won that game. So they're a contender. Then you look at, everybody brings up the Raiders for no reason. We haven't even really seen them play in a competitive setting. We haven't actually seen that at all against the Patriots, so I don't know why people bring that up. I think it's a little crazy. I mean, how about they beat the Chiefs and win their division before we talk about, that whole scenario? But nobody gives us any credit, is my point. And obviously, we haven't beat the Patriots in Gillette since 2008. That's going on 10 years. Let's hope that doesn't happen. So that's absolutely ridiculous. But when you look at it, and everybody says, is it realistic? There has been no other team that on a consistent basis has played consistently well against Super Bowl caliber teams against the New England Patriots than the Miami Dolphins. Obviously, Ryan Tannehill's on a winning streak against them right now. The only game he's ever lost to the New England Patriots at home was his rookie season. He's obviously won. I don't think there's been another quarterback in the last 5 years that has had a game-winning drive against the New England Patriots than Ryan Tannehill. So there's been no other quarterback. There's been no other team that's played the Patriots well on a consistent basis at home against the New England Patriots. It's a way that has been totally different. Obviously, we've went up 17-0 on them at times. Remember that? I think that was the 2013 year. We went up 17-0. They came all the way back on us. Then you look at the this past season where we almost came all the way back with obviously the injury to Jimmy Garoppolo. Then Jacoby Brissett came in. Obviously, Tom Brady wasn't playing that suspension game. So the point is that there's been no other team, in my opinion, that's bothered them the most. And then obviously we have the best team we've ever had. We have the best coach we've had in some time. So I think it's a formula for success. I think going to Gillette, not only if we beat them in Gillette, because that Patriots team is really good. Obviously, they had a really good offseason in terms of free agency. They added Brandon Cooks, Coney Ealy. I think Trey Flowers is going to get better. That New England Patriots team is really going to be tough to beat. Obviously, the addition of Brandon Cooks with obviously Julian Edelman there, Malcolm Mitchell, who had a really good rookie season. It's going to be tough. Nate Solder, I think that's going to be something to watch. I think our front seven can attack Brady. So it's going to be a tough game, but I think that's the most important game. I think it's going to be the most hard-fought game. But if we win that game, it really sends a message to the NFL world, and it sends a message to I don't think it sends a message to the fans, but maybe it does. If you're a fan that's on the fence, because Dolphins fans are historically skeptical fans, but I think it sends a message the Dolphins have arrived. So I think that is the most important. It's going to be the most hard-fought game in Gillette, the last game of November on the playoff run. It's going to be a heck of a game. Obviously, I think this is one of the better rivalries in the NFL. It's the most non-talked about rivalry. I mean, you can make an argument that we took another Super Bowl away from Tom Brady, beating them the last week of the season. That took home field advantage away from them, and then the Broncos got home field advantage. Obviously, go on to beat the Patriots in one of the best AFC Championship games of all time, and then go on to beat the Super Bowl, or go on to win the Super Bowl against the Panthers. So I think it's one of the most underrated rivalries, and again, I think it definitely is going to be the most important game of the 2017 season. This next question comes from This is Patrick. He says, because Koemisi is a 3-4 outside linebacker and we run a 4-3, do you think that Raekwon McMillan will be the starter at outside linebacker opposite Kiko Alonso, or should Koemisi start even though he is not actually a system fit? I think we have to go through the positives and negatives of Koemisi. I think let's go through some of the positives. I think Koemisi, the last time he had a healthy season, if you look at his Pro Football Focus rankings, they're actually pretty good. He was 13th against the run. He graded one of the higher. I mean, he was above average. He's well above average in that category. So he's a good run defender. When you look at his pressures on the quarterback, he was 4th best in the NFL. This is the last time he had a relatively healthy season. I cannot remember the exact year. I'm spacing out on that a little bit here, but those are his statistics. If you look at his Pro Football Focus rating, so his positives are: I think he's a great situational player. I think he's a great pass rusher. I think he's one of the best outside, like you said. He's a 3-4 out. He's basically a 3-4 outside linebacker. He has average coverage skills. And he's a really good pass rusher. So I think Koomisi, at best, at this point in his career, obviously he suffered a severe injury last season. He suffered a spinal injury, which is very serious. But I think at the best, I think he's I think he can be a really, really good situational linebacker on third down, rush the passer. Obviously, last season, what we did with Koomisi and with Vance Joseph, he had a great idea, because Koomisi, coming out of college, was a pass rusher. And his rookie season, he had 5 sacks, which is really good for a rookie. Our plan was to switch up our defensive front to look like a 3-4 front so we could rush Koomisi, because that's how good he is at rushing the passer. And I think that's how we're going to use him this upcoming season, and I think that's how you're going to see Charles Harris used this upcoming season in some of those kind of sub-packages. So when you look at some of the negatives, what are the negatives of Koomisi? The negatives are he can't stay healthy. He's and I think the reason he can't stay healthy is because he's playing out of position. Most of his career he's played out of position. He is not a middle linebacker. He is a tweener guy. You can drop him back in coverage, but he's primarily, the best thing he does is rush the passer. So he is not a middle linebacker. So I think that's why you've seen him get injured throughout his career, is because he's played out of position. Then you look at the other negatives. I think he's I think in coverage, he's an average linebacker at best in coverage, especially in the middle linebacker position. I think he's a terrible tackler in space, in coverage. Either on a stick route, whatever it is, in open field, Koomisi really struggles to bring those people down. In the open field, run after the catch, Koomisi really, really struggles in that department, especially in the quick passing game. If you just put on tape of him going into New England, him and Jelani Jenkins, it's terrible. So Koomisi, those are some of the negatives. Koa is just not a middle linebacker. He's just not, and he just really isn't. So I think what your question is do you think Koomisi will start? I don't think Koomisi is going to start. I don't think us bringing him back, obviously him taking that pay cut, I don't think that ever was the plan. I think we are going to use him in that 3-4 front that Adam Gase talked about last season that he wanted to use him in. Obviously, the injury prevented us from doing that. So I think you're going to see him as a pass rusher this upcoming season. I think he's going to add to the pass rush element. I think you're going to see that 3-4 front. And I think Matt Burke is going to stick with that idea that Vance had. And I think you're going to see that a whole lot more of Koomisi. I don't think Koomisi is going to start. I think he is going to be that sub-in, sub-out guy, situational pass rusher. I think you are going to see, like I just said, I think you're going to see Charles Harris and Koomisi utilized in that sub-package front. So that's what I think of Koomisi. I don't think he's going to start. And you're right, he is a tweener linebacker at heart. And I think we've just tried to make him something he is not. This next question comes from Mikhail Hansen. He says, why are the Dolphins such an underrated team? And I think it has nothing to do with talent, because our team is, one of the more talented young teams in football, so it has nothing to do with talent. I think it has to do with public viewing, and what I mean by that is just the public eye. We weren't in it that much last season. We had I think we had two primetime games last season. We had one on Saturday Night Football, and the other one we had on Thursday Night Football, and those are not traditionally, especially Thursday Night Football really took a dip in ratings, and Saturday Night Football is not a traditional, like, Monday night, Sunday night football game, so not a lot of people saw us. So my point is, not a lot of people saw us last season. This upcoming season, though, we can totally change that. I think the NFL recognized how talented our team is, and how talented of a young, exciting team we are to watch. Like primetime players like Jarvis Landry, Jay Ajayi. Everybody's going to see to really see how talented he is as a quarterback, and how talented our offense is with DP. People are going to chance to see Devontae Parker. People are going to get a chance to see, Cameron Wake, a whole lot more. So it's going to be really exciting. I think hopefully we can capture the moment, and so the nation can really fall in love with our football team. And I think if that happens, you're going to hear us more on the Talk Sports radio shows and stuff like that. A lot more people are going to talk about us because we're in the public eye. We're going to have 3 primetime games in a row. I think, we had 3 in a row. We have another one that season, so we have 4 8:30 games, 4 primetime games this upcoming season, for the 2017 NFL season. And if you want to count the London game, that would be 5. So that would be 5 nationally televised games. So we have a really good chance to show the American public, American people, the NFL world, how exciting of a football team we are, since we are going to be involved in so many primetime games. And it is an honor to have that honor to be in so many primetime games. It really is a testament to what Adam Gase has done here. He's really turned the culture around. He's really turned the franchise around. And hopefully we can take advantage of being in the public's eye that many times this upcoming season. This next question comes from Sam Coggin. He says, if Bobby McCain is performing poorly this season, would you be in favor of putting Xavier Howard in the slot and having Byron Maxwell and Tony Lippett on the outside? With them three and Rashad plus TJ, our secondary could actually be intimidating. I understand what you're saying. I think poorly is a strong word to use with Bobby McCain. Trust me, Bobby McCain is extremely inconsistent. He shows flashes of something really good, and then he shows flashes of just straight hot trashness. So it is very he does things you just shake your head at times. But again, going into his third season, still a young player. There's a lot of things to like about Bobby McCain. I think when you look at his rookie season and you look at his Pro Football Focus rankings, when he played in the slot, he only allowed 0.27 yards out of the slot, which is insane. I think that was by far the lowest in the NFL. Obviously, he didn't start the entire season in the slot due to injuries. Sometimes he started on the outside, so that stat's a little jaded. But when you look at the tape, he shows flashes of something really good. But he's so inconsistent, and then sometimes he plays over aggressive. I think some of the things to like about Bobby McCain is his competitive nature. He's a very competitive person. If you've ever seen interviews, if you've ever seen the man play in Memphis, he takes football very seriously. It's a great passion for him. So he fits into Adam Gase's culture. So that's one thing you really like about Bobby McCain. Again, I think he shows flashes. He has elite speed, elite athleticism. Vertical is insane. So his athleticism is off the charts. He has the athletic ability and the ball skills to play the nickel slot cornerback role at a high level. So that's another thing you got to like about Bobby McCain. He works hard on his technique. He's a hard worker, and I think we're going to see improvements of that this upcoming season. Negative things to say about Bobby McCain: super inconsistent, overly aggressive at times, gets beat really easy on routes, falls for double moves a lot. He's not again, that comes with learning the position. If you guys remember Rondé Barber, it took him forever to become a Hall of Fame caliber player. And he kind of struggled at the same things. He had all the athletic ability, he had all the God-given talent. He just needed to put it all together with the technique and being in instincts, basically. So I think Bobby McCain shows flashes of something, really, really good. To answer your question, should we put Xavier Howard in the slot if he continues to be so inconsistent? No, I don't think. I think Bobby McCain is by far the best slot corner we have on the roster right now. I really don't think putting I think Xavier Howard can be a Pro Bowl outside cornerback. So I really don't see obviously we have a conundrum there with him and Tony, because Tony's actually had a really good OTA so far. He had a pick 6. So decision to make there. But I think Xavier Howard, even if he didn't start on the outside, it's by some weird miracle, I don't think we would put him in the nickel replacing Bobby McCain, because I don't think Xavier Howard's game translates to the nickel cornerback role. So yeah, I think you should give Sam, I think you should give him another chance. I think he still has a lot of room to grow, and I think hopefully we see that jump this season. This next question comes from Jay. He says, do you think last year's Miami Dolphins 10-6 winning season was legit, and is it sustainable? There's a lot of different things you could point to say that's what was different, that's what was different, that's what was different. There's so many things. I think the first thing you got to start with, though, is the coaching staff. And before I get into, I think, the biggest reason, I want to talk about the coaching staff. The coaching staff was absolutely an all-star team with Vance Joseph, who's been in the game for so long, learned under Wade Phillips for so long, and really has seen 3-4. He's built 3-4 defense. He's built 4-3 defense. He built a great secondary in Cincinnati. He helped build a great defense in Houston. So Vance was a great coach. Obviously, you saw why Elway gave him the head coaching job. Offensive side, you see Clyde Christensen. These are the unsung heroes of the team. Clyde Christensen, in my opinion, for the 15 years he spent in Indianapolis, which had great success there, obviously getting a Super Bowl ring, going to 2 Super Bowls, and with Peyton, and really molding Peyton into the great quarterback that he was. Clyde Christensen should get a ton of credit for that. And then you go to Matt Burke, who he's done great jobs with defenses also. I mean, he was a huge. He was really talented. Huge part of what Cincy did down there. He was the linebacker coach down there. So unsung heroes of that coaching staff that just great resumes. I mean, some of these guys should have been head coaches already. Like Clyde Vance is obviously now a head coach, and Matt Burke deserves to be a defensive coordinator. He's proved throughout his years. And then you look on the head man, who by far I think is the reason why that this Dolphins team and went 10-6 last season with all the injuries, and why it's so sustainable is when you look, if you've been a sports fan for a long time, or if you're just getting into it, especially if you've been a sports fan for a long time, though, I want to use that analogy. Sometimes you see somebody that's just special, and you just have to say, that's just special. Like, you see Zeke Elliott, what he did last season, lead the NFL in rushing his rookie year, and you just go, that's special. I mean, he's just a special player. Even though he was running behind a great offensive line, it's just special. When you watch Aaron Rodgers play, or if you watch Brett Favre play, if you watch Tom Brady play, if you watch Peyton Manning play, you just have to say they're just in a different league, and there's just something about them that just makes them that much better. They just understand the game that much better. I think you have to say the same thing. Like, there is just something about him that is just special, and there's a lot of different reasons for that. He's like, when everybody says, Andrew Luck was one of the best prospects coming out of college, and since Peyton Manning. Well, Adam Gase was one of the best coaching prospects since probably Harbaugh, for God's sakes. I mean, Adam Gase is, he's a great head coach. He's just special. That's why I think the Dolphins will have sustaining success. There's a whole lot of different other reasons I could go into why. Just the young nucleus that we have, the drafts that we've had under Adam Gase, under Chris Greer. Man, it starts with Adam Gase, and I think he is the reason. He's the gasoline that makes the car go, and he just has that something special. I think that's why it's sustainable. This next question comes from Ray Gonzalez. He says, personally, where exactly would you rank Sue, Wake, Landry in the NFL's top 100? Being completely honest. And also, how do you think Rashad Jones' injury affected us last season and will better us while he's healthy this upcoming season? This is a great question. Ray, I watch NFL Top 100 like any other, football addict. I cannot take the needle out of my arm. I'm constantly checking NFL websites. I'm constantly reading articles. So, of course, I watch the NFL Top 100. It's one of the more entertaining NFL shows out there. Where would I rank them? I thought Wake should definitely be higher. I was actually really upset about that. I thought he should be comeback player of the year. Obviously, Jordy Nelson stole that from him. Sue, I'm actually kind of content with. I mean, I wish both of them were in the top 50. I think they deserve to be in the top 50. So I would have ranked them in the top 50, like from 50 to 4 in the 40s, somewhere in there. That's where I would rank them, and a little bit. I think he should have been in mid 50s at least. Obviously, I think he finished in the 60s, but it really doesn't bother me that much. And where does Jarvis? I hope he gets in the 30s. I'm shooting high, but I'm hoping he gets in the 30s. I think he was 99 last season. So that's a huge jump this upcoming season. He's the best at his position. He does everything well. He's probably, he's the best blitzing safety. He's the best run defense safety. He's the best tone setter. He's the best everything. I mean, there. What we really missed with him, obviously, in the 2015 season, we basically used him as an extra linebacker because of how poor our run defense was, and he literally was a one-man band. He stopped so many touchdowns that year. He was just getting tackle after tackle. Tackle. He had like 160-something tackles. The man had 100-plus tackles. I can't remember the exact number, but it was insane. I think he had 5 interceptions. He was a ball hawk. So we missed him in the run game. We missed him in open field. He was our savior in terms of that. So we lost a lot of tackling. We lost our best player on defense. So we're going to have him back this upcoming season. It should improve our run defense drastically. It should improve our tackling on our defense drastically. Big play ability, even though when he was out, we were still really good at that. It improves the intelligence on defense. Obviously improves the coverage in the back end. So he does everything for our defense. He's sometimes as a linebacker, kind of like what Tyrann Mathieu. He's such a versatile player. You can play him in any position, really. And he's a great player. He can do anything from checking Gronk to shutting down your best player in the backfield. He's just a great player. So having him back is definitely going to improve, like I said, us in the run game. The second coverage, it's going to improve our coverage against tight ends, which we really missed. We really missed last season. It was bad when he was in, but now that when we lost him, we can't just say, "Hey Jones, go take him away for the rest of the game." We just can't. We just can't do that. So now that he's back, we can just take away your best. Whoever he's checking, whether it's going to be, obviously, I think it's going to be either whoever it is, Rashard Jones can just straight lock you up. So that's what we really missed last season, and having him back is just it's a huge plus. That's gonna be it, guys. This was the fan Q&A. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Remember, this posts every Monday. You get your questions in Sunday. The video comes up the very next day. And that's about it. Let the credits roll.